Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with a book review. The book that I'm going to be reviewing is Ferris by Kate DiCamillo. Kate DiCamillo, you may recognize her from some of her previous books that she wrote, two of which won the Newbery Medal. She wrote Because of Winn-Dixie, she wrote The Tale of Despereaux, she wrote The Tiger Rising and Flora and Ulysses, but her most recent book is Ferris, which was on the Mock Newbery List on Goodreads, and in all honesty, I don't think that it should receive either a medal or an honor. Let's start with the cast of characters, because I think that was what stood out the most in this book. Our central character is named Ferris. She was born Emma Phineas, but she garnered the nickname Ferris because her mother gave birth to her right by the Ferris wheel. She was on a Ferris wheel, that's where her water broke, and that ended up being where she was born. She lives in a house. She lives with her parents, who seem to be what you'd call the voices of reason. They do have their quirkers. Her father is interested in reading encyclopedias. He'll just pull out any random encyclopedia and get to reading. And her mother likes to she puts green stamps into a book, especially when things take place. Me being an avid reader, I don't see anything strange about reading random encyclopedias. Other people that don't understand readers may think so, but I don't. I think that that's a really good hobby to have, because it expands your knowledge. She has a younger sister named Pinky. Her name is actually Eleanor Rose, but she goes by the nickname Pinky. And she is aspiring to be an outlaw. And she engages in what could be viewed as criminal activity. Whether or not it's taken seriously by somebody of her age, that could be debated, because Ferris is 10 and Pinky is 6, so having a 6-year-old engaging in these kind of things is it's going to be difficult for others to take her seriously, especially the way that she completes them. But she also lives with her grandmother, who goes by the name of Ferris, and Ferris is ill and is often in bed, but she wants to see she's been speaking with ghosts who want the chandelier that had never been lit to finally be lit with the 40 candles. And this is the ghost of her mother looking to reunite with the ghost of her father, who had died out in war. She has a dog named Boomer, and also living in the basement is her Uncle Ted, who had recently been separated from her Aunt Shirley, who runs a salon. Uncle Ted is barely dressed. He's in a robe, and he wants to paint a history of the world. Other characters include her best friend Billy Jackson, who is often at their house on their piano, and the only song he plays is Mysterious Barricades. His father, who is a former football player, owns a steakhouse. And they're constantly referring to their teacher, Mrs. Milk, who is very much into vocabulary. And throughout this book, she utilizes that vocabulary that she learns, and then mentions the definition for that said word. There is also Mr. Boy, who runs the hardware store, and everything starts to come together for them, but ultimately it doesn't feel like once everything is brought together, it seems like DiCamillo has difficulty finding a way to properly conclude this book. And I feel that it gets very choppy. I feel that there are oftentimes no reasonable explanations that are made for particular rapid changes within these characters. These characters seem to have absolutely no time to develop in any which way. They'll present something and they'll skip all the way over to something else. I think that it showed a hand at very, what you can call, lazy and disappointing execution. And I think that there was so much potential because this was such an interesting group of characters, and there was a lot of opportunity for them to be able to develop and be utilized. But ultimately it failed to properly create conclusions that were able to flow. We get from one point completely to the other. Ultimately, one character is moved from point A to point Z. We don't know how they got there. We just know that they did, and we're supposed to just feel there's no build-up to us being able to feel their accomplishment. It's just one moment we're here, the next moment we're there. And I would have been more interested to see a proper development rather than something that was just rapidly slapped together. It just felt like, with so much going on, it just couldn't be. It just wasn't properly brought into place. And when I read the Tale of Despero, I thought that it was a little bit ridiculous the way that the characters were fleshed out and depicted. They felt very cartoonish. And while these characters were cartoonish, I felt that they were I felt that there was at least some potential to make something out of their absurdity. And I like works of absurdism, but they have to be able to drive the plot and make a proper point. And I don't think that this book achieved that. And so I'm giving this book 2.5 stars out of 5. And I would have to say that while it felt like a thrill as I was reading it, it just is not an example of good writing in my mind. I think that it was disappointing the way that this ultimately panned out. Of the Mock Newbery List books that I've read thus far, I mentioned it in my What Have You Been Reading video, I much prefer the 7 books that I read the last for the 2024 Newbery Medal rather than the 2024 list for the 2025 Newbery Medal. I've only read 3 thus far, and the next 4 seem like they have potential as well, but I'm not sure, and I'm not going to get to them right away on the basis that I have reading for our 17th season and some other reading projects that I'm going to be engaging in. But I would like to get back to those 4 books as well. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope you check out some more videos from this channel, and I will be keeping an eye out for the awarding of the Newbery Medal and the Newbery Honors for this year. For now and as always, I encourage you to keep reading.